She said, my name is Rosie. I'm the Community Engagement Specialist here at Vital Connections. And I'm so happy to have each one of you guys here with us tonight. We're excited about this conversation. It's my topic, self-care. Just talking about ways that we can prioritize our self-care and reduce our cortisol level, that's our stress level, and create a healthier habit to better take care of ourselves. Together we're going to explore simple, practical ways to manage stress, nurture healthy habits, and put self-care at the center of our daily lives. And we have three fabulous, amazing panelists here with us today to help us talk about this topic and share their wisdom and their knowledge around self-care and how to take better care of ourselves and carve out small bits of time to really pay attention to how we're feeling on the mind, body, and spirit. So without further ado, I'm gonna allow each panelist to actually, introduce their self, say your name, briefly who you are, your role in your organization, if you're part of an organization, and how you came to do this work. I'm gonna pass it to Bourne because he's right next to me.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Bourne by Kim. I work for a company called Town One Life, which I started about 7 years ago. And Town One Life and Bodywork is a holistic kind of healthcare provider. And not in the sense of like a hospital, but a healthcare provider in the sense of how does your body feel, how does your head feel, where are you mentally, physically, spiritually, and more importantly, etherically. I came to this work about 7 years ago. Trump was elected president. I was working, strangely enough, I was working as a police officer. And I became a police officer because I was working in the school system, and I was like, there weren't enough community officers that knew the community, that knew the kids, that had people that looked like them, that dealt with them, because, I came from Roxbury. So I ended up doing that work, but when Trump got elected, I was like, I'm not gonna work for him. So I quit the job, and I went to a yoga class. And so I became a yoga instructor. And then I just started doing everything health related. So yoga instruction, food prep, food and juice prep, gardening. I started doing all those things because I think that all the things in our life are all connected. And if you pull one thing, it's directly related to something else. That is how I came to the work. I presently run my own massage business. I have offices in Brookline. I have offices in Back Bay. I'm starting an office in JP now with the Boston Queer Collective. So I'm really working with all parts of the population and really trying to get people to understand how much massage is not a luxury, but a necessity. Having people, having touch is so important. Just think about how you would feel if you went through a day where you didn't touch yourself and no one else touched you. It would be a horrible day, right? Anyway, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna pass this along. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren, and thank you, Rosie, for having me. My name is Dr. Lomas. I am an OBGYN physician, holistic health and wellness expert, and I have a few jobs. I wear a few hats right now. I am one of the GYN physicians at Upham's Community Care. I also have my own holistic health and wellness medical practice. I do holistic education, events, which is one of the ways that I've had the opportunity to work with Rosie. And essentially, the framework or foundation upon which I work is we have to prioritize our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So very much aligned with everything Lauren has said. Our healthcare system, it does so many things very well, right? If you have an emergency, if you need a surgical intervention, we as physicians, we can work really hard and diligently to get you cared for. But what we don't do well is help people reverse their chronic health conditions, right? We can prescribe a medication, etc., but how often does your doctor walk you or talk you through the resolution of that issue? Oftentimes, it's just more medications. So, how did I get to this work? Just in realizing my own limitation and capacity. So I was pregnant with my son July 2020, so at the height of the pandemic. And I was working overnight in the hospital. And I just remember the patients coming in sicker and sicker. And I just asked myself one simple question: who is prioritizing my health and well-being? And I realized really quickly that there is only one person. That's me. And then it caused me to just try to shift and reframe everything, right? The hours I was spending working versus taking care of my family versus finding time for self-care. And I just started to read and explore everything and learning more about psychology and neuroscience. And that was when I discovered this seemingly groundbreaking, scientific article that talked about how stress and trauma influence our brain, activate our body, activate your nervous system, resulting in inflammation and cortisol and constricting your blood vessels, which causes blood pressure to go up, your glucose levels to go up, and exacerbates all of our chronic health conditions. And with that knowledge, what many people don't know is we can reverse those bodily functions also. And that is with activating our parasympathetic nervous system, slowing down. I'm from Louisiana. I spent 15 years in Los Angeles. And I have this regional perspective about the pace in Boston and New England. It is unsustainable, in my personal opinion. But we can have the agency to at least slow down for ourselves, slow down in our homes, in our minds, and in our bodies. And that's what I'm doing right now, and happy to share more.
Thank you.
I have made gumbo. We can talk about that later.
Hi everyone, my name is Missy, Miss Brown, and I got into this work because I am someone who has suffered with anxiety and depression. I was just diagnosed with depression this summer. I have had a lot of grief that I didn't know was trapped, and gone through a lot of different other things. So I had decided, what I thought was self-care years ago was like getting my nails done, getting my hair done, but I was neglecting my soul. So I really had to do a lot of soul work, and I just started really getting involved with this work. I also have my own business called Create, Execute, Inspire, where I do a lot of goal coaching. I like to do vision boarding and things like that. I like to set goals and execute things and also teach people those things as well. So this is for me, it's off of experience as someone who has depression, as someone who's considered a Christian, and they don't talk about this type of stuff in church when you deal with this. They just say pray about it, but it takes more than that, to be honest with you. So I'm looking forward to being that voice that there's nothing wrong with therapy. There's nothing wrong with taking medicine. There's nothing wrong with, thank God for my provider, because she was the one who asked me if I was depressed. And I was like, I don't know, maybe. And she, we had an honest conversation, and I honestly thank God for my therapist, for my doctor in medicine, because it really saved my life. So that's how I got into this work. So I just do things based off experience, and just let someone know that they're not alone, no matter who you are, or whoever you serve, you can get the help that you
Thank you
so much for your sharing and your vulnerability. We're humans, right? And things change all the time, and we have to pivot when we have to pivot, and sometimes we have to step out of our comfort zone, right? Like you said with therapy, I'm like, okay, that's not, we don't talk about that in my culture. We're like, what is that? Can we explore a little bit? So that's part of self-care, but I appreciate everything everyone has to say today. We hear the term a lot, self-care, and what does it really mean? And I think for a lot of people, like you said, nails, hair, yeah, that's part of self-care, but I think it goes deeper than that, right? It goes deeper than that, mind, body, spirit. So question, what is self-care? What is your definition of self-care? What is self-care? What does that look like for you right now on a mind, body, spirit? I'm gonna pass this to Dr. Lucy Stiles.
No. So I will frequently share that my perspective about self-care is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. However, I'm a mom. My kids are 5 and 6 years old, and so self-care is in the infant ages, right? Self-care may be, something that you really kind of can't work on or prioritize, and it might just be tending to the children during their sleepless nights. So my perspective about self-care, it's not just me as the individual, but also my family and my community. And it requires me as the mom, as the primary caregiver, and that just naturally nurturing person, to take the few minutes to make time for me and myself. So during those really difficult times in our life, it may just be 5 minutes. It may just be 5 minutes of that time to think or reflect about what I'm concerned about or what I'm worried about. If you want to spend that time on, your appearance, etc., that's okay too. It's really an invitation to explore what you need. So I encourage everyone just to take that 5 minutes. But I think the short answer is care for myself, my family, and my community.
Who wants to take it on? Yeah, okay. I want to hear this.
Okay, so self-care to me, it depends on what season you're in for the definition. So for me, being in a season of darkness, self-care for me was rest, was canceling things off my schedule, taking time for myself. So it depends on the season you're in. So right now, I wouldn't say that I'm in darkness like I was at the beginning of the summer. I would say the shade is lifting, but self-care for me is relaxing. Where, like you said, where my nervous system is calm. And it just depends on what season you're in, because there's always different seasons of your life. So it's all about, like you said, taking care of your mind, your body, your soul, and spirit. Because if I'm just going, because I work out every day, but I'm working out every day, but I'm not taking care of the other parts, it's neglect. So it takes time. My son, he's older now, he's grown, but like I'm even navigating raising an adult now, and him becoming an adult. So sometimes it's kind of like, that was overwhelming to me as well, because I was still helping him and dealing with frustrations with him, and still kind of like neglecting myself. Not talking about, because I keep my hand up, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just taking a break or saying no. Like I told my cousin, it's a blessing, no. So it depends on what season you're in and how you view self-care, but you have to take care of the mind, the body, and spirit, because if you don't take care of all three, it's going to show the neglect. So I just think self-care is just like whatever season you're in, whatever works for you, but you have to take care of that inner first. That's just me.
Yeah, it looked, when you said that to me, and it looks,
When you said that, I had to really reflect, because I hadn't thought about the seasons, although I know it changes in different, depending on the time of the year. Because self-care is not all about me. It's about collective care as well. Yes, I feel like, you have to pour into yourself first. If you're not well, like you can't take care of anybody else, you're really no good for no one else, right? For yourself, or for your children, your family, the community. I just started taking a walk. That was it. I don't care if it was 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Go outside, get some air, take a few breaths, and come back in. That's how it started for me. Then I started working out. Right? So it's baby steps, and it's really about also being open to trying new things that you haven't tried before to see if it works for you.
Right.
Then slowly I got into yoga. And I'm like, I like how this made me feel.
Right.
I started feeling better. Things started shifting for me.
Right.
So I don't want to take the mic, but I want more to talk a little bit about stuff.
Yeah. Well, no, thank you all, three of you all, because I think that the answers that I've heard, the personal side of it, what the doctor talked about, it's very important to have your own personal relationship with what health means to you. What's the thing that's always relaxed you? What's the thing that gives you comfort? What are the things that make you smile, right? Like that question they say, if someone said, what do you love? How long would it take you to mention you, right? First, so what does that look like when we say, what do you love about myself? Or what if that was always turned into us? So I really like what the doctor said. And then the piece about it, the seasons are very important, because if we have a mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, and etheric body, our energetic body, right? Those 5 states of being all have seasons. Right? I know how to take care of myself better now. I know what to do to take care of myself. I know I have the finances to take care of myself. I have the good sense to just stop. So for me, I think it's all those things, all the things you all talked about. And then it's also about, I always bring it back to something very basic. 5 years old. Think about you at 5 years old. What time would you put you to bed at 5? What time would you wake you up? Would you wake you up, or would you just allow yourself to wake up? Right? Because I might have to let you sleep in. I got things to do, and you can wake up. But 5 years old, how would you do your hair? What would you wear? What would you eat? When would you start looking for what you had for breakfast at dinner time because it hadn't come out yet? You'd be concerned about your health and wellness. We're not concerned about our health and the wellness the same way we're concerned about baby. So if we had to baby us, how will we take care of ourselves? And think about this. If this is 5-year-old you, and this is 35-year-old you, 45-year-old, 60, 85-year-old you, why aren't you treating 85-year-old you better than you were treating you at 5? So I think wellness, when we talk about what wellness is, when we talk about what that means, health and wellness, it means, are we taking care of ourselves as well as we best know how? And are you enjoying it? Because if you're not enjoying it, it's probably not good for your body. Long term.
Well, yeah, round of applause for that. That was good. All of it was good. All of it was good. Yeah, we need to do the best we can do with our wellness, with the resources and time, energy that we have, because we know life be life.
Life.
Life do be life, and sometimes it's hard to get in that little self-care. And some days are better than others, and it's all right. It's okay. Give yourself grace if you can, if it's available, right? Because sometimes it's not always available. I was just telling Dr. Lucy that. And I'm like, it's okay. Just be with whatever you're experiencing and just be with it and see if you can move through it and get to the other side. Because every day you have life, you have breath, you can begin again. Every minute. Yeah. When did you realize you needed to start prioritizing your well-being? What moment that you had that ha-ha, that sometimes you have these paradigm shifts like me. I wasn't well, wasn't feeling good, my gut was hurting me, it was just, I was feeling sluggish and running around as a single mother, and then something hit me when I was, I got diagnosed with Graves' disease, and I'm like, something's gotta give. And then I had that paradigm shift, and I'm like, oh, I needed to do something a little bit more for myself. When did you have that moment, Dawn? Because I thought we all have those moments. We're like, okay, I need to prioritize my self-care. And what did it kind of look like for you?
Like this is one of those moments right now, right? Like look around the room. Look around the room. How many men are in this room right now?
2, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Right? 3, 4. The guy who wanted in and out. So in a room about health and wellness right now, what concerns me is there's no men of color in this room. Like, where are my brothers? I just read something this week that said it's really important for us to be in contact, men to be in contact with each other at least twice a week. That's right. I thought about that. I said at least twice a week with someone I like, just twice a week to do nothing. Because if you say to women, oh, we're gonna do a thing, girl, can we journal? Can we do yoga? We're gonna make it all overnight. It's pajama. It's a function. That doesn't happen with men. So when I think about it, my call to action was kind of like always not seeing men. The things I was doing, I wasn't seeing other black men in ballet. I wasn't seeing other black men in acting. I wasn't seeing other black men in yoga. I wasn't seeing other black men in health and wellness. I wasn't seeing other black men, doing besides the regular things that we regular do, whatever that is, rap and basketball and whatever else comes in between there. There's like, where is the black man? And so this is a time where I'm always looking around for more black men and saying, how do I support that? And it just makes me think like, wow, I just need to start doing a men's support group of some sort just to talk about health and wellness, right? So yeah, there's my answer. There's a fourth black guy.
How many men did you invite?
I did invite some men to this, but I think that one of the things that really is dynamic, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
I think one of the other things is really dynamic about men being able to come together and do things and take part in community activities is they always have to figure out, is it safe? Is it safe for them and why?
Right.
And what that means sometimes, especially in groups where there's women, men don't feel comfortable because they feel like they'll be attacked by the women first. So there's so many different things, and then there's men who feel like they'll be attacked by men, but it takes a lot for men to show up because like a lot of men that are like me, if I was uncomfortable, I would be in this space and wouldn't feel comfortable because I was one of the few men here and wouldn't feel effective in space, right? So that's another thing to think of, but I want black men to also feel, I want men of color to just feel their importance and their need. And so part of that I really just think comes from us being able to sit together and talk together and have conversation. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead.
I hear you keep talking about community and things, and no disrespect, but all your offices is not in the community. I think that is one of our problems. We as black people do not have our resources in the community. I heard that we have community, in Brookline and all those other cities, but you have nothing in Manhattan, Dorchester, Rochester. I think if we, as black people, have resources in our community, maybe more black people, men and female, will be benefit for it. Thank you.
The question
Thank
is,
you.
will black people pay for it? That's probably why he have it in
It
those.
doesn't matter if they pay for it or not, but some black people will be able to pay for it. I'm quite sure the communities that he's in, they all do not have that resource. Some insurance companies do pay for the type of service that you provide.
So I am going to just share, I work at Upham's Community Care, which is right there in Dorchester. Many of the healing events that I have conducted or been a part of are in Roxbury or Dorchester or Mattapan. So, and I hear you, right? Because you're right. Like, when we start talking about businesses and business opportunities, as I am developing my medical practice, and I have had conversations with banks about loans, etc. They ask about the neighborhood. They ask about the average income and net worth, etc. And we know what those numbers are in these historically divested areas and neighborhoods. We know that. So I am acknowledging that there is absolutely truth in those comments, and there are people that are trying to do more to reach the community, and I am absolutely open to collaboration. I will give you my card, and even if it's just to have a conversation or just share some ideas, because when I was having events at the library, I wanted to see more people, right? And then, so you have great, well-meaning people, and it's not always easy to reach them. But I've learned now with like the right collaborations and partnerships, right? And like bringing healthcare and education and these healing tools to where people already gather. That's one of the strategies that I've learned about just as I have been in this work.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
I also want to say that I had offices in Roxbury all through COVID. I also worked right here in Dorchester at the Four Corners Yoga. So I've been in Roxbury, I've been in Dorchester. I have other space in Fields Corner. But my offices, I show you where they are because I also do have to pay rent and I also do have to make a living. And it does matter how much money we make. And part of the reason why I do what I do, if you heard what I said, is because having someone touch you is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's a regular part of our life, right? Having someone touch your food, touch your vegetables, touch your fruit, that's a regular part of our life. So we all need to be doing this at a local level. But realize, I'm the same. You could talk to me, phone number, information, all that. I'm in the community. I'm born and raised in Roxbury. Where am I going? That's why I do what I do, for my love community.
I can vouch for that because I'm a Roxbury.
Hey,
I've seen you.
I'll be around.
Yes, yes.
Have you been to a symposium, whatever, where it's specifically for black men, and how do you gather them? What draws them?
Marty?
Black men, I wanna let the sister speak. I think black men come out for all different kinds of reasons. I don't know specifically, but what I will say is this: one of the most successful black men at drawing black men or having a consensus of black men reading his work and his books recently that I've seen is Jason Williams. And it's Christian based, but it's powerful because he's coming from a place of just kind of being a man, and being a good man and leading through Christ and, this example. So, but as far as what draws black men of color or men in, I think it's when you can actually talk about topics that are important to them, that matter. And I will go back to, I'm gonna segue to you and piggyback off of what you said to give you back, the focus, which is, it depends really what period or stage you find that man in, right? Because certain ones we just want to rip and run. Other times we want to settle down. We want to be at home. We want to be at home with the doctor, with the kids, and having weekends and going to Martha's Vineyard. Other guys want to travel. They want to go and be wherever. So it really depends. But I think if you can find out what stage they're in, where they're at, they'll come out. Yeah.
So the stage I was at when I realized with self-care, I would say, I noticed that I was always crying about it. And I didn't know why. I would just like break out crying. And I'm like, I don't even know why I'm crying right now. Like, what's going on? And I just kept moving, kept taking. Not realizing that I was depressed this whole time. And could see depression in someone else that was telling me their story, like, oh, I think he or she depressed. But I couldn't see it in myself. And sometimes we're mirrors to other people. So that was my aha moment. And even like, I remember it was in July, and I was on my way to church, and I was like, I think I'm depressed. And I think I'm going to talk to my doctor about possibly getting on medicine, because it was just like, my brain was like, it was just all over the place, to be honest. And then I lost 2 grandparents back to back. And I lost my grandmother on June 16th, my last living grandparent, and it was just a lot. So it started to all come full circle with all the crying. I lost my grandmother and my grandfather a year apart. It just started to all make sense. And trying to raise a parent and a child that's moving into adulthood, and working with him, and it was just a lot. So that's what I had on.
Thank you so much for sharing. When we talk about self-care, like, yeah, self-care, you just gotta get it done. It's not that easy, right? It's not. It's like self-care, you gotta get it done. People got a lot going on, So how do you guys, like, Dr. Lucy, we're all busy. You're a physician, you're a wife, you have 2 children. I know, kids are going back to school. It gets chaotic, and you're running and rolling. How do you prioritize? What do you do? And I want all the panelists to touch on this, like, all the other questions, but I wanted to start with you, Dr. Lucy, just because, I know you talk about self-care, but you're about it, right? You're about it, and I know you carve out time when needed to do that. How do you do that? What are some strategies you could share with us, each one of you guys?
I try, okay, and, I think that's something that I will always continue to do. I try, I aspire to be well. I aspire to feel good and feel like I am flourishing in life. Because like the other panelists, and likely everyone has shared, life is not always happy-go-lucky, joyful, amazing, joyous feelings, right? Like that's just not what life is. And I aspire to have more of those experiences. So how that looks in practice and in execution simultaneously is a work in progress. Because right now I am prioritizing my relationship, right? My husband. We are in counseling and therapy for like the 4th time. And we make that choice on a regular basis to choose each other and to stay together and continue to try to work out our differences. So right now, that's what it is. And I can't wait for the kids to go back to school. You may or may not know, between now and September 4th, they are in Boston Public School. They are looking at me.
Charter school.
Already started.
Oh my goodness, let me stop.
We all make different choices. But I would say that, right now it is making the choice to work on my relationship. In practice right now, it is, man, when I tell you about like the peace that I have found with walks.
Say less.
It's
Walk,
walks.
saves you so much.
Walking. I mean, like I can.
The best thing ever. Wallaston Beach, I'm always there.
Oh, we have everyone testifying about walks. Put that at the top of my prescription list.
Continue there.
But I remember like just the children were crying. I was just stressed and tight and strapped the kids in the stroller and I just started walking, pushing that stroller, and
The way to do it.
they finally calmed down, and I just finally started to feel some peace. So,
You could exhale.
the walking, and then also journaling. So,
Mm.
yep, those are things, a few of many things that I'm doing right now.
For me, so I like to, like you said, I'm the journaling, I love journaling, I have a bunch of notes. I also like what you said about the child, because I believe in healing my inner child, so now I have gotten into forest bathing. So I did some grounding yesterday, I turned my phone off, my brother was calling me, he was like, oh, did you see me calling you? I said I was grounding. But it's just little simple things you can do for self-care, it doesn't have to cost. Like, you can go for a walk, take a deep breath. I know I only have one kid, but I know what it feels like to be a single mother. But I'm grateful that I had my family where my son could go to get a break. But it's just the small things. It doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to do all that. It's just going outside. It's just taking a deep breath or just breathing. Looking outside your window, looking at the trees, just being grateful. That's self-care as well. So. That's just, I'm very disciplined, so discipline is very important to me, so that's why I stay in a routine. I wake up every morning, I go do my, my yoga sculpt and things like that. So it's just all about just being disciplined and doing what's best for you. It doesn't have to be anything dramatic or serious, like walk, journal, I'm grateful for, and just something simple.
Yeah, nothing special. So people say, what's the number one way that you stay alive? Age gracefully, keep moving, right? You don't have to do specialized movement, you just have to move, right? So walking, don't need any special shoes for that. Your feet got built-in everything you need, just go walking. I would say 7 natural doctors are like really the thing for me, right? Like, where's my fresh air? Where is my ability to walk on the earth barefoot, right? Where can I just put the soles of my feet down in some dirt, in some grass? I got here a half hour, 40 minutes before, and I just went and sat with this tree. Just leaned against the tree to get some tree energy. We're all connected. Everything's all connected. And like, if you look at the figures for who lives longer, you'll find women live longer, right? The reason why women live longer is because look around the room again, right? Because you all do this. This right here makes you live longer. Because this gives you faith, it gives you belief, it gives you hope, and it reassures you that, oh yeah, I was at a thing today where people just like me were doing their thing, everyone was able to be who they were, and if they could be available and emotionally bare, I can too. And if I can be a witness to them, they can be a witness to me. I can witness myself, and I think that's growth. But 7 natural doctors is how we really, is how I need to get along. And so I need sunshine, I need the fresh air, I need the water. I need some meditation, I need some food, and I need some time to just like be still. So I would definitely say that a big part of my health and wellness has just been being part of the DLC, which is the Do Less group. Do less. See, what are you doing? I'm resting. When you up, it don't look like you're doing anything. Could you help me do this? No, I can't. What are you doing? I'm resting. Well, it looks like you just up looking that way, and I'm actively resting. Let people know you're actively resting, because I think the other part of us being healthy and taking care of ourselves is knowing when to stop. Not just to say no, but stop. A lot of people say no, and they're still working. No, I'm not going to do that, but they're doing their own thing. Stop. Just go somewhere, sit down. If you can't do that, have someone sit on top of you. Stop. No, I really mean it, because, you know, I have clients that come to me and they don't know why they're injured. Well, how did you get this? I don't know. Well, it's in your shoulder. I know it was there, but I don't know how it got there. Stop. So I stopped. Doc, you fine. You don't got nothing in your shoulder.
My shoulder has been hurting.
I see.
And I do not know why. I will come see you.
But seriously, I think that we need to know when to stop, right? And I don't know why women have always had some sense of when it was time to be together, or getting together, or using being together as some form of healing, but it's something that men need more of, that we're not doing in the same way. But I always think about 7 Natural Doctors, because if we don't have a place to see sunshine and walk in it, if we don't have a way to get fresh air, if we don't have a way to get water, if we don't have a way to put our feet in earth, or walk the land, or be in parks, or see nature and be around trees, be near ocean, we're not going to be here long. Primarily because we don't understand our connection to the planet. And the further we get away from that, the further we're getting away from ourselves.
Round of applause for that. All that is said. So important. Less is more. And the medicine is the nature. It's the grass. It's us here in community connecting. Like Bowen said, less is more. It doesn't have to be a whole hour. It can be 10 minutes. In 5 minutes, you're writing down in a journal, right? And that walk is crucial. If I don't get outside, you better get away from me. You better go. Because when I get out there, something like my nervous system starts to melt. Something shifted in my body. And when I first started doing it, I was just doing it to, lose some weight, run. Now I'm more intentional about walking. I'm like, hold on. There's something going on in my nervous system. And then I like to journal after I walk. Like, I try to do it before, but that doesn't always happen, because it's good to get a sense of how you're feeling before you walk out that door. Because you're frustrated and tired and angry and irritable. And then when you come back in from that walk, now you can do a little bit more reflection on what has shifted, if anything. And right away, you be like, I'm not sure. But it's okay not to know right away. It's a practice. That's what it is. It's okay if it doesn't happen every day. But consistency is key too, right? To the best of your ability, because, life shifts, things shift, and things happen. But you can start over again. At least you have that tool, that self-care tool in your box. You're like, you know what? I remember when, I went to have a long walk and it made me feel like this. I remember I took a few breaths. I journaled. We can keep remembering, coming back to that. For me, it's like, I have to get outside. If I don't, it's a problem. I don't care if I don't get to my yoga. I don't care if I don't get to my workouts. But I gotta get outside. I have a dog, so the dogs make you go out there. Cold, rain, shine, who cares? And when you get out there, you're like, even that cold winter, I hate the winter. But I feel better. When I go, when I come back in, I'm like, I got some air, because it feels isolating in the winter for me, like depression, and it's dark. I don't want to get outside. My self-care looks different. I find like I need to tend to myself a little bit more, opposed to the summer. You know, so that's all the information I've gathered for myself over the years. And really, I do a lot of time blocking. So this self-care stuff is crucial, right? It's important to me. So I put it in my calendar. Just like you go to work, you put it in there. That's what I do. And it works for me. It's gonna look different for everyone. You know, I'm a parent, my daughter's 29. I have more time and flexibility, you know, opposed to someone, you know, that have kids and so forth and on, a family to take care of. Not saying I don't have a family to take care of, but I feel like I have more room to incorporate my self-care. And some days it works and some days it don't, and I have to shift, you know, so, but I wanted to share that. Yeah. Thank you. So we're gonna do some self-care stuff. Yeah, round of applause. So I'm gonna have each of the panelists share a simple, practical self-care practice they want to they do themselves, you know, and that they want to share with the community. How does that sound? Y'all ready to do some self-care and practice? And this is it's simple. These are tools you can take away with you, right? So let's get started. We're gonna I'll keep an eye on the time, but let's start with you, Boy, with your self-care. I know you told me you want to do some movement stuff. Some chill.
Oh yeah, hey.
You know, I need some movement.
Why don't we move up just to the edge of your chair? Not far, no, go way to the edge. You know, these chairs got that good support. Go where you can still feel the grip. All right, make sure your feet are flat. Now, you should have enough space. Actually, you might need to move your chairs back and up a little bit. If you do this, does your head bump in front of the chair in front of you? All right, so check this out. You're gonna come back up, right? I want you to take your elbows, put your elbows like this in front of your knees. Now, I want you to push your elbows out like you're trying to give someone the elbow. Get out of my way, I got to get on the orange line. Push them back. As you push back, squeeze your knees into your elbows. And we're gonna do it for 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Now, go down and touch the floor. See how close or far you are, right? Now come back up. You're gonna drop just your right hand down, right inside your right leg. You're gonna push your right arm against your right leg and your right leg into your right arm. Ready? Take an inhale and then push for 4. Push your arm into your leg and your leg into your arm. And then release. And then we're gonna do the opposite side. Same thing. Get ready? Take an inhale. Hold the breath. Push. Push in your leg.
Exhale out through the mouth.
It is. Hold it, and then release. Now come back up. Now go back down and see how much space you created in your low back and hips.
Yeah, I can do that.
So this is a principle of yoga, right? Opposition creates space. So anytime you can sit in a chair, if your back and hips are bothering you, if you do this and push your elbows into your knees and squeeze your knees in and then release that, you'll notice that your low back and your hips will all release. So there's a release exercise for your low back and hips. Hey. Now sit back in your chair and relax. Yoga chill. There you go. Is that good? Did it work? How'd that work for y'all? Anyone find any space? All right.
Yeah, my lower back.
Lower back.
Yeah. I normally don't do that in the chair, but that's really cool. Great, thank you. And Dr. Lucy, you want to take us to that body scan?
Sure.
Body scan.
Okay, so we are gonna do just a brief body scan, and has anyone ever done any like guided meditations online? YouTube, Insight Timer, Calm, Mindspace? Okay.
Whole body scan, yep.
Yes, okay. Well, remember, I'm a physician, so I think it is so important that we really start to pay attention to our bodies. So I'm just gonna take you through just like a brief guided review. And this is actually something that I do with my kids, and I was really laughing at Lauren saying, oh, you can just sit on top of someone. Well, sometimes I joke and I like sit on top of the children, but you know.
It's okay.
not
It's okay. You're their mother. You can do these things. You holding them, tell them you're holding them down, holding
You're
you
holding
down
me
right
too
now.
tight, that's what they say. But this is something that I actually do with them when they're in bed. And, you know, one of the things I do is I have them close your eyes, so you can either close your eyes or look down and just relax your gaze. And just imagine that you are on the beach, okay? And you're lying down in the sand, and you can feel the sun up above. Maybe you hear some seagulls calling. You feel the wind and the breeze blowing. And then what I want you to do is just kind of focus on your feet. Okay? And then slowly move up to your ankles. And then just take a slow, deep breath in. And then breathe out through your mouth. And when you breathe out, just breathe slowly and try to relax all the muscles in that area that you are focused on. And then go up to your knees, and then pay attention to your knees. Do they feel tight or tense, or is one of them aching you, or is it bothering you? Just take notice. Then you can move up to your hips. And take another slow, deep breath in. And once again, out through your mouth. Maybe you now feel a little bit more space in your hips after that nice stretch. Then pay attention to your lower abdomen or your pelvis. Do you feel heavy? Maybe you feel hydrated. And then slowly move up to your chest. Take another deep breath in. And then slowly breathe out. And now pay close attention to your shoulders and your neck. Sometimes I like to roll my shoulders a little bit. You can roll them forward, you can roll them back. And then just pay attention. How does it feel? Does it feel tense? Does it feel tight? Do you carry any tension there? We hold a lot of tension in our neck, in our shoulders, in our lower backs also. And now just slowly pay attention to your arms, right? Go up and down your arms. Your arm to your elbow, your forearm, and your hands. And pay attention if you feel any pressure or tightness in any of those areas. And then slowly make it up to your head. How does your head feel? Do you feel clear? Does it feel foggy? Do you feel distracted maybe? Take another deep breath in. And then breathe out. What I also like to do after doing that body scan and paying attention to all of the different parts of your body, this is a great time to do a little bit of journaling or reflection. And either write down, is there any area in their body that feels unusual or out of the ordinary? That's certainly something that you can bring up to your doctor. Did any emotions come up for you? Did any thoughts or worries come up for you. Maybe something else that you need to do for work or for school. So that's why it's always a great idea to journal a little bit after the body scan. You're welcome.
What you got for us?
It's kind of similar.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna do a quick 2-minute mental reset for your mental health, which is something that I need. I put it in my little notes. So we're gonna just take 2 minutes to do a quick little breathing reset. So I want you to sit comfortably, feet flat. Also, feet flat on the floor, hands resting on your lap. And if you like to close your eyes, you can, or do a soft gaze. And then I want you to take a slow breath in through your nose with 4 counts, filling your lungs completely. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that breath for 2 counts, giving your mind and body a moment to pause. 1, 2. Exhale gently through your mouth for 6 counts, letting go of tension and stress. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then I want you to inhale for 4 counts, bringing in calm and clarity. Hold for 2, grounding yourself. Exhale for 6, releasing what no longer serves you. With every breath, remember you are calming your nervous system, reducing anxiety and stress, and you're creating a space for clearer thinking and better focus. You are sending your body the signal that you are safe, which helps you reset emotionally. And most importantly, you're taking a moment just for you because your mental health matters. Take one last breath in, hold it, and exhale. Now carry this sense of calm and clarity with you as an act of self-care for your mind, body, and soul.
Thank you.
I don't know about anyone else. I feel more relaxed. I feel like I've switched on my parasympathetic nervous system. That's not rest and digesting. You would feel like, all right, let me do this. Right? And I feel relaxed. Oh, literally. Like I had a lot going on today, you know. There's a shift that happened in my nervous system. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, and we need to pay attention to our nervous system. That's part of our self-care. Right? So thank you so much for sharing that. I wanted to share one. As a self-care advocate, I feel like we've been sitting, so let's get up. We're all the experts. So you can go a little wider with the legs, and then just start, bouncing the knee a little bit. Bounce, bounce, bounce. This is my little movement. When I'm behind the desk and I just feel like I've been sitting too long. Bounce, 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 bounce. And then slightly keep your knee bent. And then start to just swing your arms. Like it's a swing and twist. So you might want to just, you might hit your neighbor, that's all good. We're here together. We in this together. Yeah. I love these little swing twists. This is my thing. Like just about every day when I'm behind the desk. And you can allow your arms to like flop behind you. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to center. And then bring the legs back and together. And then add another one. I'll put this down. Self-love always starts with you. So bring your arms out. You might want to move around. And then bring the left arm across the chest. Right arm underneath. Give yourself a hug. Yes. Walk your hands back. And just like you to someone else. They rocking side to side. You know, sometimes you rub someone's back and you're like, yeah. How are you? Just send yourself some love here. Any positive affirmation that you are loved. You're worthy, you're enough,
And then come back to center, and then release that, unravel. We're gonna do that on the other side. Bring the arms out, and then this time, right arm across the chest, left arm underneath, and give yourself a hug on side.
Again.
Send yourself some love, some kind words. As you're doing this, inhale through the nose. Close your mouth gently here. Notice you're in fact inhaling through the nose. And then you exhale out through the mouth. And then come back to center, and then release that. And bring your shoulders up to the ears, bend your elbows, squeeze the shoulder blade, drag the flesh down. Shoulders up, squeeze the shoulder blades, and then down. Do a few of these circles. I'm hearing cracking and popping. Stuff going on in my neck. But you know what? It feels really good. So, just pay attention what's going on there. And then we're gonna bring the shoulders, this is awkward, shoulders up, forward, and down, and see how that feels. Yeah. This is all practical movements you can do. And then release. And then have a seat.
I'm like, I think the whole room could use that. Thank you so much for participating. I hope you found those little self-care practices useful, and then you can take this off, with you to your family, for yourself, for your families, with your children, or anybody else that, might be in a difficult situation. You're like, oh yeah, let's just take a breath. Let's roll our shoulders. Let's do some swing tests. Anything else that resonated with you here, feel free to share that. Yes, you have your hand up.
I didn't hear anybody mention running. It's one of my greatest joys, my greatest love, and everywhere I go, it's like I have a new language now. Speaking about health, fitness, and running, the joys of running.
Yes.
So I got in it by accident. Well, I got back into it. I've always been, active growing up down south. Always told to go outside, go play, go get sun, go run, climb trees, play football. We all played together, boys and girls. Go fishing, cut the grass, do something. You always was busy. And then I came here, and life was so different. But then somehow I got into Road to Wellness, 5K running. So it's like I said, one of my greatest joy, and I try to share with everybody. I mean, there's running communities, there's walking year round, just like the mailman. The first mailman was a black male woman, and she went all across the country delivering mail through wind, rain, sleet, or snow. They call her Mary, Big Mary. So she had her gun and her little doggy delivering letters. So she kept going. So there's always a running community. There's always someone that you can run or walk. You may not want to run, but you can walk. There's somebody that you can come within the running community. I've met so many, and so many all over. Trailblaze Her, the Pioneers, Black Men Run, Thaddeus Miles, Hood Fit. So I'm there, Road to Wellness. So
And 261, I see your hat.
yeah, 261. Catherine Sheltzer. She was in the marathon, and she got snatched out for being a woman in the '70s. So she started. This is her bib number, 261. So they're all over the world now. Women, black women all over. I mean, not only black women, but women all over the world, men all over the world that's running. Taking care of your body. It's about taking care of your body. So that's a great joy, just to be able to run in the park, run in the neighborhood, just making it more the norm. When you see, why you running, right? You know why. Because I'm taking care of my body. I want to live longer. And so I promote that. Just, it changed my mind.
Thank you for sharing your story. Yeah, round of applause for that. I see you running around here all the time. Any type of movement, whatever works for your body. I used to be a long distance runner, and I'm like, my body doesn't like that too much anymore. I can do a 5K, but I've noticed as I'm getting older, too much is not good.
But
For me,
see, I-
for my, like, depending on where you're at in your
But I
life.
met women in their 80s and their 70s.
Still running,
giving
yeah.
themselves permission. I
Yeah.
think it's a mind thing.
It's
Well,
a mind thing. No,
Maybe your
yeah.
body, you got some health issues.
As long
there,
as
but-
you're getting the movement you need,
Right.
because we're all different and we're multi-dimensional beings.
True.
What works for me might not work for you.
That's true.
Right?
But
So
you don't know until you.
you don't know until you try. Exactly. So it's always good to give something new a try and see how your body resonates to it. And if it, like Dawn said, it doesn't feel good, it's not for you.
That's right. But you never know. if
You never know. Yeah. Yeah. Questions? Feel free to raise your hands up. Yeah.
I have a question about, is it healthy, to put your face in a cold ice water? I don't know what that really does to the body, but, and even walking like on, your porch, and for those people who also have porches, they should walk out on their porch every now and then barefoot. I would sort of brings down your stress level or your high blood pressure.
Yeah, so cold therapy is, you can research cold therapy. Cold therapy is good for our body for a number of reasons, right? Because when you utilize cold therapy, what it does is it has your body creates a kind of fat wall or fat cells to protect you from freezing, but it also makes your body produce more oxygen, right? So it increases your lung capacity. So there was a guy some time ago named Wim Hof, Vimhoff, who got very depressed when his wife died, and so he started going plunging in like Iceland or wherever he was living. And he spent more and more time underwater until he could extend the amount of time that he could breathe underwater, but it's all cold therapy. But if you go on and do the breath, you can actually research Wim Hof. If you Google him, you'll find him. But that's cold therapy. The most natural way to do it and the easiest way to do it in the community, especially if you have asthma, it's not good to do that cold therapy, because if you do the sauna and then a cold shower, that's cold therapy, right? It's not good for people with asthma, but if you can find the infrared sauna, you can do the infrared sauna in cold plunge, and that will help you in the same way develop more lung capacity and use cold plunging.
Okay, what about, I also have my knee replaced. I had a knee replaced in 2022, and my PT keeps saying I should ice it, but when I ice it, I already have scar tissue there, and it turns really hard, and I can't do anything. So, I don't know, because I know what the warm weather does help, when they say that, but I should always ice it, but it irritates me when I do ice it, so I feel kind of stuck there.
My suggestion for that would be, instead of using, so when I grew up, the common methodology that we used was an acronym, which was RICE, Rest, Ice, Compression, Elevation. There's another acronym, which is MEAT, which is Movement, Exercise, Analgesic, and Treatment. The movement would just be movement, so it could be walking. It's not anything specialized. The exercise would be something, something for that specific joint or whatever you're working on. The analgesic would be if you're deciding to take like some type of aspirin or a NSAID of your choice. And then the treatment would be either getting with someone who's like a body worker to help you to break down the adhesion, to break down the scar tissue so it's easier to move. So it's a combination. It's not just like you're seeing one person. You need to see, like when we were talking about health and wellness, right? It's like, I have my hair person, I have my skin person, I have my nail person, I have my, so.
So I'm gonna co-sign what Warren said about, the movement, right? And you're getting that with your physical therapy, and absolutely I encourage continuing the exercises at home. So, also, I was gonna say, like when he's talking about breaking up the adhesions, that can be done in a few different ways. So what can be done with massage and or stretching. So, I don't know what type, and that's what Warren is recommending, right? The body work through massage and or stretching. And I think that's probably what you also need to add. And you can use the pain medications Tylenol, ibuprofen, whatever you usually use for pain, so that you can tolerate some of that extra TLC is what you need. You need to take it to that next level.
Without getting addicted to the medicine.
Yeah.
Right.
I try to stay away from, I don't like a lot of pain medication because it seems like it only works for a short period of time.
Right, and it does, but using it for a short time so that you can get some of the treatment therapy that you need, even if it is only briefly. And yes, I always recommend using the lowest amount that you need for the shortest amount of time that you need.
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned elevating the leg, allowing that lymphatic drainage
Right.
to flush. That's that access
Right.
fluid that has nowhere else to go but through movement, elevation, massage, right? Is there another one?
There's heat too. You can put heat on it. Often what happens is when kids get stuff, we put heat on it. We put cold to stop the blood, right? From stop from bleeding. But what you realize is in traditional Chinese medicine and African holistic health, their perspective is put heat on it so that you can get more fresh blood in the area, right? Because the more that you can get fresh blood to the area, the sooner it's gonna heal, right? So sometimes heat is advised. And sometimes people go from ice to heat, ice to heat, ice to heat. But do it for you to find out what works best for you. Because for certain people, ice has a better effect. But in traditional Chinese medicine, you know, a lot of times when Americans would say put ice on it, Chinese would say, we're not dead yet, work on it. Right? Because you know, we put dead things on ice. You're not dead, work on it. You know, go work out. And so the movement may hurt, and so the analgesic is so you can get through the exercise. The analgesic is sometimes so you can get through the massage work.
So my PT told me the opposite. You're good.
He's right, I'm co-signing, yes.
What is it?
NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory
Right.
drugs.
Yeah.
So that is like your ibuprofen, your naproxen, those are NSAIDs.
Right. And then like if you were taking something like naproxen would last longer than your Tylenol or something else because it's more concentrated. So sometimes you can take something like that and you can find a plant-based alternative to an aspirin. But it's just working with someone who's plant-based so that you can do that. But you have those choices too, right? Seaweed, well, there's a lot of different things you can do with seaweed, but that's a little, yeah. But it's more about having the vitamin that you need to heal. Were there any other questions?
Yep. Feel free. Hands up. Who had it? No, go ahead. Go ahead. You got the floor.
So would you recommend us do more of like a dynamic workout? Because we need to be able to like run, lift, you know, stretch. So would you recommend us do like a little bit of strength training, a little bit of cardio, yoga, like a mix of everything? Because I know a lot of people who do like, for example, only like strength training, but they can't really stretch or they're not very flexible. Or I know a lot of people who are very good at that, but they're not good at like endurance. Because as humans, we need to be able to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I agree. A little bit of everything. That's what I do. A little bit of everything because you need the cardio, the running for your heart, right? That's good for your heart. You want to get the heart rate up, but you don't want to get the heart rate up 24 hours a day. So that's why I incorporate the yoga, which helps reduce the heart rate. And you want to live a long life, the goal is to start slowing down the heart rate. There's benefits to both. It's all about balance. And I'm big into lifting weights. I do lift weights. And the reason why I do it is good for your muscle because as you're aging, you start to lose muscle mass. Right? So people think, oh, you gotta go to the gym like me. No, you don't have to do that. Aesthetic work is nice. Being able to lift yourself up I don't know, lift the baby up. I know you lift the baby up, put the baby down, you know, it's a workout. Bringing in your groceries. You wanna be able, as you're aging, to keep your strength. Yeah, it's gonna deteriorate over time, but I think for me, the lifting weights does help keep my muscles intact. That's the goal. Right? And, you know, stretching. You don't believe in yoga, forget the yoga. Just stretch every day. A little something. Just like what we did. The forward fold, the twisting, the shoulders. I work on those areas a lot to stay mobile and flexible as we age. So a little bit of both. It seems like a lot. It can be overwhelming, but you don't have to do it the same thing every day. It could be a little bit. You're walking today for your cardio. Maybe you got time for a little strength training later on tonight. Maybe not. Maybe do that the next day. You know, you can't go for your walk. Maybe you're sitting down like Gwen was saying, you know, you're stretching and opening up the hips. Practical self-care movements like that. Or can anybody else want to chime in?
I have a question.
the doctor.
Yeah, I was just gonna agree that, like, okay, so for example, this year I started strength training, right? Because after my few years of time where I needed to just rest and walk and do those restorative yoga sessions, I finally worked up enough energy to be able to make it into the gym and pick up some weights and, you know, work with a trainer when I have the time and or, you know, can afford to do that. So it's about realizing what season you're in, right? And if you have like a short, medium, and long-term plan for your strength, for your flexibility, for your balance, for your cardiac, you know, cardiovascular health, and it can easily feel overwhelming. But like Rosie said, you don't have to do it all at the same time.
Right.
Sometimes it's just a little bit of a focus every week or every month.
I think I'm sorry. I think to answer your question though, the 7 basic exercises they do at, you know, squat, deadlift, lunges, the pull-ups. These are all basic things that we need to be able to do for life, right? So,
Can you do an example of a deadlift?
a deadlift is when we take something like this and we just lift it up,
Oh,
right?
gotcha.
And the reason why I say that is this, like I would refer to the doctor, is how many different systems do we have in our body, right? You need to do something for each system. Oh, well, I don't really want to be concerned about my circulation today. Okay. I don't really want to get rid of any waste today. Okay. But you know what I'm saying, right? We have to focus on getting waste out of our body, because if we don't get rid of waste, that's where disease comes from, right? And that's also where, if we have inflammation, that's where disease comes from, right? That's where sickness gets in, right? So if we're asking myself, if we're really talking about health and wellness, how do I get rid of inflammation? Now I can talk about what I need to change in my diet. Maybe it's the salt, maybe it's the sugar, maybe I need some more exercise. Maybe I don't need to change the salt and sugar, I just need to exercise more. Because I love what I eat and I'm not stopping. I'm just gonna eat and exercise, because I'm gonna keep eating.
Amen.
So what I'm saying is, I think it comes with a level of being honest about where you are. And then listen, if you're not trying to do superhero things, you don't need the superhero workout. But we do need to make sure that our basic body systems work. So again, I would just say, go back to that 5-year-old baby. When are you looking to see breakfast coming out of your baby? If you don't see breakfast by lunchtime, we're concerned as parents. We don't know when breakfast is coming out of us at all. So we need to stop and look at our diet if we want to talk about health and wellness, because that waste in us is not healthy. I'm sorry.
Let's say you give up sugar and salt for a whole month. What are some good alternatives to substitute to eat in that whole month?
For the salt or for the sugar?
Both. Let's say you want to give up the salt and sugar for at least 1 month. I know I like to eat a lot of eggs, but salad don't fill me up.
Right.
I know.
So what I'm gonna say to you is, salt, whenever you crave salt, it's because your body is lacks potassium. Whenever we crave sugar, it's because our body lacks magnesium. Now, I know that apples are high in magnesium.
Okay.
I know that we can get magnesium foot spray and all kinds of there's all kinds of different ways we can fortify our body with magnesium, right? Or sugar-like things. Or I can use stevia, which is a plant, which is sugar, right? I can use that in place of sugar. I could use synthetic salt like aminos, liquid aminos. So there's different things you can do, but that just comes to sitting down with a nutritionist or sitting down with someone who knows about herbal supplements or how to use those things. But I think the question is,
Like, what should I be eating like on a daily basis for the whole month? That's what I'm trying to ask.
you should be eating all the things you regularly eat, just without salt and sugar.
I have an idea. Okay, so, have y'all been to the Stop and Shop in Grove Hall? Did you know that there is a nutritionist there? Christine Sinclair is a nutritionist,
Okay.
and she works at the Grove Hall Stop and Shop. And you can actually sit down and schedule an appointment with her.
Okay.
And if you have a specific nutrition-related question, right, hey, I wanna cut out some of the sugar in my diet, what are some alternatives? Hey, I wanna cut out some of the salt in my diet, what are some alternatives? She would actually be an excellent, plus I love her, and she's wonderful,
And
so.
she's at the store.
She works at the store, so that's
You
one.
can email address, you can email her those questions.
You can email her. And also, the second thing I wanna recommend about the diet is, as Americans, we do not consume enough fiber. We do not consume enough fiber, and you can increase the fiber intake in your body in so many different ways. Psyllium husk fiber, right, is just something that you can put into your water, you can put it in your tea, you can put it in your smoothie, you can put it in your oatmeal.
Yep.
You wanna try to avoid sugar, and I even recommend avoiding the artificial sweeteners.